So I am, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Chelsea Coffey. I'm here with my blog, thecoffeebreak.com. So I'm trying to break myself out of a really bad habit, which is I blog basically on two occasions. If I sit down and make an editorial calendar and I specify what it is I'm going to talk about, because I stick to it, and which I haven't done in forever. And the other thing is if something happens or something comes up that I feel so strong about, I need to sit down and get it out. I don't know what it is about saying it in front of a camera, but it always seems to kind of jump out of me, and I'm like, I have to get this out. I can't be the only person who feels this way. Let me see if I share it, maybe somebody else is going through it and we can just like scream together and then find solutions. So I wanted to put together this coffee break chat because this week I wanted to talk about when you kind of feel like you've like lost your center and you're a little out of sorts and you're just like, what the heck is going on? Like, I don't know how I got here. I don't know how to get out of this place. I feel like I'm stuck in a rut and I just need to break free of it. And more importantly, I want to be able to do it and move forward with a clean conscience and to feel like I've let it go. So I basically took some time to reflect, and by reflect, one of my best girlfriends, Janae, was in town this weekend. And the great thing about having really, really close friends come visit when you haven't seen them in a while is that they're able to like pinpoint and identify those little things that the people who don't know you very well or just whomever may not be able to pick up. So I feel like after not very long of being here, she gave me a very good kick in the butt about a few things that I just like had kind of vented to her about and pointed out to her, and I am just so thankful for that because it definitely was like kind of a sobering experience, but it also pushed me to really want to take some time to look into myself and where I am, just kind of like get a pulse on what's going on. Like I said, I think for the most part, it might have to do mostly with moving to New York. By the way, I'm vlogging from my new apartment. Welcome. It's my first time, doing a coffee break chat from here. So hello, welcome to my humble abode. But I think the transition, obviously, good or bad, and it's been a very good one. I'm so thankful for that. But it still creates change. And change a lot of times is uncomfortable. And in Houston, I had just a really great groove. Like I'd get up, I'd go to the patio, the weather's amazing, so I could do my devotionals outside, meditate, pray, all of that. And I think it allowed me to consistently find my center. I think that with my transition here and my new job and just traveling and bouncing back and forth all around, I think I'm just a little bit off kilter and I'm a little bit off of my routine, and I think it's catching up with me a little bit. So having said that, I think one of the biggest indicators of that is just kind of when you stop, take a step back, and you just kind of do a status check of everything. So look to my relationships with the people I love, the people that I'm friends with, the people that I'm close with, people I'm not close with, and I said, what are the different patterns here? Like, what am I seeing? Like, what are the patterns that deal specifically with me? What are the patterns that maybe I'm seeing that are environmental or circumstantial? How can I fix it? What can I do on my end so that it can be more attainable? And it's really cool. I was talking to her yesterday, and I'm going to include this in the actual body of the blog post, but I came across a blog post that was specifically designed on a meditation on how to deal with people and situations and circumstances that make you unhappy or that just like frustrate you or are just like too much for you to handle and you just need to start fresh. So a lot of meditations are about like money, or they're about success, or they're about living your best life, or different things like that. And I'm like, no, I need something very specific that pinpoints and targets relationships. So I looked it up and I actually felt a lot better after it. So I think thinking outside of the box is a really big part of it, and that's why I wanted to come up with a list of 3 different things that I think you should take the time to do if you feel like you've lost your center. So the very first thing I wanted to point out, and this is what I did personally, is I've been asking myself for a while now, like the things that bother me, where are they coming from? Is it coming from a place of entitlement? Is it coming from a place of selfishness? Is it coming from a place of this is just what it is, don't feel bad, like you just have to get through it? Like I'm asking myself all these different things because I am really big on harmony. I like everything to like carry on and kind of go well. And when things are out of alignment and I can feel the discord, it really bothers me. So at any point in time, my goal is like, how are we going to fix this? How are we going to fix this? The tough thing is that if you get to a breaking point, the solution seems that it's not something that can be fixed, and then in those situations, I just retract altogether. So I think the greatest part of discipline, and this is something that I don't know if I did this to myself or if it was already the case. Coming into 2017, there were a couple of things, and I was like, oh, I feel like 2017 is going to be the year of dig a little deeper. And it was just like this gut feeling that I had based on these few instances, and it has totally been the case. Last year was like acceleration and abundance, and God just coming in and kicking down the door of like this opportunity and that opportunity, and this blessing and that blessing. And I feel like when you get a lot of what you've been praying for, one, it's not always going to come packaged exactly how you think you want it. Even if it's better than what you think you wanted, it still is going to come with other stuff as well. So I think that the best attitude you can have is to try to find the blessing in it, even when it's uncomfortable. So that's why I said I just took the time to acknowledge the fact that maybe this year is a year where I'm going to have to dig a little deeper, push past my comfort zone, push past the things that bother me, and even when I feel like giving up or just throwing my hands up or whatever, that I still have to dig a little deeper to fight for what I want or for what I believe in or for the life that I've been praying for. All these different things are factors. You just have to keep the faith. So, like I said, the very first thing was ask yourself, where is it coming from? Why do I feel out of sorts? Why do I feel like maybe some things are out of my grasp? Why do I feel kind of like all over the place? Like if you just feel maybe stuck in a rut, all these different things pull from somewhere. So it's really important, I personally feel, to do the best you can, to just try to say like, gosh, like Chelsea, like, where is this coming from? What can I do? The second thing, and this is, like I said, my friend was here, talk to someone who you know and love and whose opinion you respect. I think that a lot of times, so much of everything is just in my head, and I have different ways that I've kind of like rationalized it or analyzed it or just processed the information, and at some point, you need to talk to someone else. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of think it through it in your head, and you have to be careful about that because we all have a filter that works in favor of our defaults and what it is that we like. But talk to someone who's going to say you need to get it together, or you need to, or you're freaking right, or, just to get like a second opinion on whatever it is that you're going through. The third thing that's very important, and this is where I am, and this is why I wanted to do the coffee break chat, is create a strategy and actually write it down. And that's what I'm doing. So my strategy is a few different things. It's nothing really new necessarily, with the exception of one thing I'm going to show you guys. So my friend Faye, who is amazing, she got me this journal called the Happiness Planner for my birthday. And I've been looking at it forever now, and I'm just like never in one place long enough to actually like get on it, so I might just have to start going with me wherever I go. But I've always heard that gratitude is one of the number one ways that you can bounce back and live your best life. And what I really like about the Happiness Planner, I'm like giving them a free infomercial, but I'm excited about it. One of the best things about the Happiness Planner is that it goes from everything from tips on how to live a positive life to a happiness roadmap to asking you what actually makes you happy, what makes you unhappy, what normally upsets you. Let's see what else I got in here. What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? And these are all pages of questions that they're asking you before you even get to the actual 100 days of jotting down the different things that you were made happy by, or I don't know how to say it. So anyway, that's something that I am finally going to start. I think I just need kind of like to be more intentional. And part of that is also my morning routine. I just have been so busy, and with work, my boss is based out of Germany. So my days start really early, and I just have gotten so bad about, praying in the morning, on schedule, doing my devotion, doing my meditation. I might do two and drop the other one. I might do one and drop the other two. So it's just the structure. It's the discipline of saying, no, this is a priority. It's not only important for me spiritually, but just for my mental health. I need to put this back as a priority, and I need to commit to doing it. And last but not least, I think it's really just about understanding that change happens, that change is always going to be happening, that there are always going to be new things that are coming about. And I think it's really important not to be so resistant of it, because I think you feel it more. And my friend Veronica told me that a long time ago. She said when you're going through something, or when you're dealing with someone that you don't like, whatever it is, she's like, the more you fight it, the harder it is for you to be at peace about it. She was like, once you finally let it go and just kind of accept it as it is, then that's when you really are going to see the difference. And there have been a couple of different times in my life where I've done that, and I've seen the direct benefits of it. Something else I wanted to point out, and this isn't necessarily like a number on my list of things, but it's just a really good point. I have a tendency to come to prayer like once, like I'm throwing up my hands, I don't know what to do, and I'm kind of done. And I think that's such a bad habit, like, that I've developed. I don't know why that is, but I don't mean like, oh, when you pray in the morning or pray before you go to bed. I'm talking about going to God with specific things that aren't necessarily like, I'm going through this really hard time, or I've lost a loved one, or, I'm trying to move. Should I go? Should I stay? Like, sometimes there are things that are circumstantial, or sometimes there are just lifestyle things that instead of panicking or being frustrated or being anxious, take it to God. Pray about it. Like, ask Him specifically to come in and breathe fresh air into whatever it is that you're struggling with, or whatever it is that you're going through, and watch Him work. And I'm saying that as much to you guys as I am to myself, because I'm like, God, please let this actually work. But it's true, like, there's so many different situations and instances that I can look back on where I just saw that God really just like kicked down the door of opportunity, and that He just like blessed me and worked out whatever it is that I was dealing with. So I just want to put that out as a reminder. I actually am really excited. I think that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this coffee break chat today. I tried a new church here in Brooklyn, and the pastor talked about the armor of God, and he actually mentioned something that I had never really like seen or considered before. And he talked about how the gospel of peace, that your feet be fitted with the gospel of peace. And one, I have a confession, I don't know all the parts of the armor of God. I had to look it up. Two, the ones that I do know are basically like the first two, and then after that it gets all kind of cloudy. So that's why going to church is important, even if you don't always want to. That's why reading the Bible is important. That's why going to Bible study is important. Fellowshipping with other believers is important, because you miss out when you don't, and I'm really speaking to myself, you miss out on different teachings that help prepare you for situations like what I'm going through right now and why I'm here doing this coffee break chat. So he talks about the gospel of peace, and the whole framework for his message today was just all about forgiveness and offenses, and how to deal with people that you don't like, and how to work through situations that make you uncomfortable, and just all these different things, and how it's not just about reading the Bible or talking to people. It's about why we do all of that. And it's because God wants us to have peace in our lives, and He wants us to have joy in our lives. And when the goal isn't to be at peace, when it's based on maybe selfishness or motives that aren't pure, or when you just are like too self-consumed, or whatever it is that might be the cause of it. Sometimes it's just life and you're totally entitled, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to figure it out. That's where God comes in, and that's why faith is so important, and why there is hope for the future. So, having said all that, I just wanted to kind of plant a few seeds that I'm working through personally. I'm going to put a link to the meditation that I was talking about in this post, and if you're looking to connect with me, you can find me at The Coffee Break. That's Coffey on Instagram and Twitter, and I hope that I'll see you around soon. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Baby, got that thing, and I know that's right.